eat a donut and then I'm going to go walk it off. That's not going to happen, right? Because you put on too many calories and make yourself produce too much insulin and make yourself grow too much yeast, right, with that one donut to offset it with the exercise, right? So remember the interest rate that we talked about, right? The insulin and these inflammatory growth factors, right, that make you produce more weight than the actual calorie count of the food that you eat, right? So that's why we're not interested in counting calories and we're not interested in Weight Watcher points, right? What we're interested in is not having you produce insulin and not having you produce these growth factors from inflammation, right? That's the key. So aerobic exercise, excellent. Stretching. Now stretching, not necessarily an exercise, more of a pre-exercise way to prevent injuries and also to improve the circulation of some areas in your body that are harder to get circulation to, like your joints and ligaments. It's a little tougher to get circulation to those, and they can get kind of kinked up, or what some of my patients call all stoved up, right, if you're not stretching. So stretching not only does that, but again, it's a way to prevent injuries. If your muscles, ligaments aren't stretched, and you go out and put too much demand on them, then it's easy to pull a muscle, or damage a ligament. These ligaments and tendons and joints need to be oiled up or lubricated, right? And one of the ways to do that, right, again, is with continual stretching. So, particularly for like, some of us athletes, particularly men, we don't like to stretch, and we can easily forget about stretching because it doesn't seem like, it doesn't make us build muscle. But stretching, very important. Now the proprioceptive, and this is one, most people have heard about these 4 types of exercise. Few people understand about proprioception, even though proprioception is one of the most important types of exercise. Now proprioception is this type of exercise that forces you to use your balance mechanisms. And there is a very comprehensive system and complex system in our bodies that allows us to keep our balance. So it has to do with these mechanisms in your middle ear and in this occipital region of your brain and these neuromuscular junctions in your joints. So for you to, for instance, stand on one leg like this, right? Lots of things are working, right? And there are different muscles and ligaments and nerves and so forth that you use when you try to maintain your balance. So it's a more complicated exercise than these other exercises, right? The best athletes, right, that we ever see, the Michael Jordans and the guys that make these acrobatic wide receiver catches in football and so forth, they don't have huge muscles, right? What they have is extraordinary proprioception, right? And when you see Michael Jordan, spin around, and throw the ball over here, or one of these wide receivers, make a one-handed catch, that's proprioception. Those people have an extraordinary ability to control the orientation of their bodies in space, right? Acrobats, right? Same thing. If you've ever seen Cirque du Soleil, or people that do the high wire acts and so forth, that's proprioception. And when you look at surfers, right, you never see fat surfers, right? Because that whole exercise is about proprioception, keeping their balance, and they're working just about every muscle in their body in order to ride those waves, right? So proprioception is kind of a hidden secret as far as exercises that are going to make your body function well and lose weight. So what are some proprioceptive exercises? So Tai Chi is a proprioceptive type exercise. When I was in China, I'd get up to go for my run, at 5:30 in the morning, and the parks would just be full of these elderly people, and they're doing their Tai Chi, and balancing and so forth. It looked like a ballet. And that's a type of proprioception. The yoga. Yoga incorporates proprioception. Pilates incorporates proprioception. Again, though, I talk about the logistics, and so you got to pick something that you're going to be able to do on a regular basis. Now, this BOSU apparatus is something that you can get for your proprioception that you can just have at home and you can do while you're doing just about anything, watching TV or whatever. You can get on this and balance yourself, and if nothing else, just walk, right? And if you stand on this, right, you'll get the idea of just how much work it is, right, just to keep your balance, while you're doing this. But initially, you can put it up against the wall and you can hold on to a wall. Some patients, get the ski poles and balance themselves like that for a while. But after a bit, these proprioceptive mechanisms come back on board, and then you don't need the training wheels anymore, and you can balance yourself on it without anything. And then, you can start to get a little more advanced, by taking your feet completely off of the Bosu. Now, when I do it, and you'll see on the video on the YouTube where I show you the exercise, I'm doing what we call interval exercises, where I'm running on this, and then incorporating the weights also. So I'm doing the resistance and the proprioception and the aerobics all in one exercise, right? So that's a very efficient way to do things if you want to do something very efficient. These cost about $100. You can get them over at the Target. I think it's Target. Either Target or Kmart. I think it's Target. Okay, we'll have to guess. So it's Target. Yeah, so you can get them over at Target. You can order them online. And there are other exercises you can do with this also. And if you go again on YouTube, there are lots of channels that show you how to exercise with the Bosu. But if you turn it upside down like this, then you can do the push-ups. My grandkids like to get on and balance like this. So they'll have contests like this as who can balance the longest. That's a very good exercise also. So, but these are I'm very impressed and very high on the Bosu. That's an excellent invention that he came up with there. All right, questions?
How about dancing?
Dancing, so that's another proprioceptive exercise also. So you got to use your balance, right, when you dance, but then it's also aerobic. And then you're also getting some resistance there also, right, depending on the type of exercise that you do. But, and again, that's so before you guys came in, we were talking about, if you're going to do some type of exercise, make it something enjoyable. Try to make it something that's enjoyable. Make it something that you can do, with a partner, right? And then you look forward. It's not a chore, right? So yeah, dancing, excellent. Yeah. Other questions? And then the other thing we mentioned, was not getting in over your head, with the exercise, doing something, that's age appropriate, doing something that logistically, right, something that you can, do on a regular basis, at least 4 days a week. Right? So think about that. Start something that you got to put on the schedule. Right? Something that you got to put on the schedule, because as I was saying earlier, the excuses come very easily. Right? Well, I can't exercise today because, right? And so, so you've got to put it on the schedule, right? You got to schedule yourself, just like this is your health hygiene. So, like you get up and brush your teeth every day, right? You get up and shower every day. You got to flush out your system every day with oxygen, right? And so, just think of that as flushing your toilet every day in your body. Would you ever go for a whole day without flushing your toilet? No, right? So at least 4 times a week, right, we want to flush out the system here in your body, your circulatory system and heart and brain and all that, right, and flush all that yeast out, right?
What's the difference between those last two again?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mention the last two. So plyometric, right, now this is the explosive exercise. Now this is a little more advanced exercise, and when we're talking about doing exercise, where you're not going to get hurt. This is one where if you're not careful, you can injure yourself, particularly if you're not stretching on a regular basis. So plyometric exercise is when you're using lots of power instantaneously, right? So jumping, for instance, right? So like that's a plyometric move, right? Sprinters, right? They're using plyometric moves. Long jumpers, right? Again, a burst of energy very fast. Power lifters, right? When they when you can jerk the weight very fast, those are plyometric moves. Now those plyometric moves are very good for toning, right? So they are very good for making your muscles, you know, lean and having a lot of definition, right? But again, that's again, a more advanced exercise that you really want to make sure that you warm up for and that you stretch for, and that you're careful with. Not something that you just want to do every day, particularly as you get older. So. All right, other questions? Okay, so again, this is this 40 days. This is, you know, not the end. This is the beginning, right? So this gives you a jump start, right, to this new lifestyle. So now you incorporate the exercise, you incorporate the Bally eating plan, right? And you should continue to lose weight. If nothing else, maintain. But if you know there are still pounds to lose, then you can do another round of this. Again, you can get your HCG from that same website, and you can continue to do that to lose all the until you get down to the your goal weight. Again, more than the weight though, the waist. Right? So get that waist down. If you're a guy below 35, you ladies need to get yours down below 30, right? Because that's where the disease starts for at a 30-inch waist for women and a 35-inch waist for men. So that's the goal. And it's, you know, it can take a year. It's not, you can put it all on, right, in 30 days, or 40 days, so don't expect it to come off, instantly also. So it may, the patient I had this morning, I think this is her maybe 4th time doing this, but she's getting down to her goal weight and has just, made a dramatic metamorphosis, as far as her weight, and personality. So. No, we haven't found that to be true. I know it says that in his manuscript that you need to wait for a period of time, but we have found that people can just continue to go on the HCG, in consecutive rounds, and it's still effective. Did you have another question, Lauren?
Well, yes, but I don't know exactly how to ask it. What can you do if you're doing weights? What can you do to keep from injuring yourself with those? Because I have done that before at the gym where I was, using weights and I was stretching. I thought I was being real careful, and then I pulled something. I couldn't do anything for 6 weeks.
So the stretching.
So that's what makes the difference.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warming up.
Before and after, and a warm up. So you need to do about a 5-minute warm up, like on the treadmill or something, where again you get your juices flowing and so forth. Then you do the stretch, right, and then lift your weights. Or do the we were talking about before you came in, using these resistance bands, right? Many times those are a little safer than doing the weights, right? So.
The warm up before the stretching?
Warm up before stretching. All right, other questions? Okay, well, like I said, broadcast this to your friends. Steve will be doing another group here at some point. You won't get enough people that are interested, but tell your friends about it if they want to lose weight. This is the best program available, and I mean, you people can do this on their own. The advantage to this, of course, is using the spray that we have, and then the other supplements that we have, and then the education that goes with it. Because if you're not armed with this information, going away, then you're going to put the weight back on, right? If you go back to, if you consider this the HCG diet, right? And it's something that's transient, and you lose your 30 pounds, and then you start eating at McDonald's again, then the weight's going to come back. I can guarantee you. Now, one of the things when this first came out was it was being promoted as the weight loss cure, and that somehow your hypothalamus got reset, and that you're bulletproof now from donuts or whatever. That's not the case, right? And I've seen it over and over again that people get off of this and they go back to eating the way that they were, or they have read Kevin Trudeau's book and they think that they're immune to gaining weight now. That doesn't happen. The body wants to gain weight, right? Your prehistoric brain is still programmed to think that there could be a famine, right, at any day. And so it wants you to store fat, particularly you women, right? It wants you to store fat, right? So you, I mean, if you do things, right, to make that easy for the body's going to store fat, no question. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys for participating. And again, I'm always available for questions, right? Me, Steve. If you have those, shoot them to us. If you want to do the program again, or you have friends who just want to do it, send them our way.